community that doesn't have the resources to do what needs to be done. The people of El Valle are not riffraff. They're hardworking, dedicated people, family people who do the best they can, and they need your help. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to mention one other thing. This is the map for the Santa Fe National Forest. It shows a road going from the old Las Vegas Highway all the way up to the forest land. This is the roads. This is the atlas for the roads of New Mexico. It's a definitive atlas for roads in New Mexico. It shows the same access. So I think there's plenty of precedent to pass this resolution.
Thank you. Next, Joe Quintana.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joe Quintana, and my family has been here since the 1700s. What you guys don't understand, when these roads are closed, our people from the 1700s have been using that road to bring latias, vigas, and everything else that we have to make our houses that have been up for 200-300 years. You know, and a lot of people don't understand that we go up there and we still use that road for these reasons. So what we want to know is is there any way that you guys can help us get that road opened again? That's back from the land grant, which Joe Chavez was saying that we've had that access for 300 years, not just 100 years. And our families have been here for that long. So if we can get these roads opened again, you know, we're not disrespecting anybody. It's by using these roads, there might be a few bad apples, but if you have a few bad apples, you're going to cut the whole tree down. That's what we're trying to say, you know. So if we can get our roads back open, you know, there won't be no more problems with any of these people. So I appreciate you guys giving us the time to get these roads open. Thank you.
Thank you. Brenda Gonzalez.
Hello, good day. I'm Brenda Gonzalez Hackabill. Actually, my husband and I are the ones that bought the property on BR B55. And I just want to relate that we did buy it knowing that we had access to the National Forest. And we did meet before the purchase Jordan and his wife Malaya, Hosea, and we told him we were planning on moving there, and he seemed to be very nice at the time. And when he learned out our background, I feel that might have had a part of it, because my husband is a retired district attorney. I am a retired 30-year criminal investigator, and it was like right after he knew we purchased the land, the game went up. And I think not thinking about the community and the people and who he was shutting out had something to do with it. And he gave us that they're riffraff, they trash the place. And of course, we were new residents. And then during this time, I have had people around there that have come and become our friends and work for us, and to find out that they have family buried up there. They go up there for wood, for recreation. I've been outside painting my fence when people that didn't know about it would go up there and could not, and came back down, and they asked me, they go, "Hey, did you know there's a gate up there?" And I'm like, "Yes." And they're like, "Wow, I've been living there all my life, and I bring my kids up here, and I didn't know there was a gate there." And I actually went up there one evening to check it with my granddaughter in my truck, and you cannot turn around because it's too narrow with deep ditches. And she had to get out, and I had to back down like, like half a mile, and it was very dangerous. And then I started thinking about, when I was asking about hunting, well, now that the road closed, you cannot have access. You have to go all the way around to the Pecos area to get into that national forest. And I've met hunters who were coming up there that were worried about it because they said, "We always access here to go hunting, and now they have to go around." Well, I'm thinking too, well, what if there was a forest fire? You gotta find your way out the other way, and everybody knows this way, I think that's really important for the San Miguel County to realize the importance of access for people that could get burned up in a forest fire. And it happens all the time here in these forests. I'm concerned for that, but I really am concerned for the people of the community that have used it for all their lives, and that to me is a very, very sad situation for San Miguel County. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew Romero.
Hello, I'm Andrew Romero. Just like everybody here, we've been going up our whole lives. My dad took us up there when we were kids. We hunt the place. We use it to go get wood. And I want the same thing for my kids. And we hope that you guys open the gates. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to regular order. Item number 2, resolution number 08-1319 CM, requiring that the road known as County Road B55 and beyond to the Santa Fe National Forest remain open for public use. Presenter, Commissioner Max Trujillo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a little background on why I took this up. Being a hunter myself and being locked out of places that I love compelled me to move on this, and in conference with Commissioner Varela, whose district this is in, we felt like we needed to take action on this, and it's important to us because we are as deeply rooted in our culture, in our land, and in nature as anybody in this room, and that's, I just wanted to give a little background on why I took this up. So I'm presenting this resolution today. It's San Miguel County Resolution number 2019-08-013. A resolution requiring that the road known as County Road B55 and beyond to the Santa Fe National Forest remain open and unblocked for public use. Whereas in San Miguel County, New Mexico, citizens historically have used, depended upon, access to state and federal land for hunting, fishing, wood gathering, grazing, and the use of public and state land for survival and enjoyment. Whereas recently, a road that has long been used to access the Santa Fe National Forest has been chained off and blocked by a couple from California by the name of Malea Hosea and Jordan Hosea, who purchased land according to news and personal reports. Whereas the Hosea family knew or should have known that there was a public road on the property when they purchased it. Whereas the road is known at its beginning as County Road B55 and is later known as Road B55. It has been used by the public for generations for traveling into public forests for many purposes, including but not limited to hunting, horseback riding, sightseeing, piñon picking, and the gathering of firewood. Further, major parts of this road have been maintained by the county and the U.S. Forest Service and other agencies for the last 50 years. Whereas the Hoseas claim that they want to keep the riffraff, quote unquote, out of their newly purchased picturesque 77 acres, whereas the Hoseas claim that the bottom line is it's a private road and that's the end of the story. Whereas forced exclusion of the public causes a tremendous safety hazard because fire equipment will not be able to access the area immediately as was needed 10 years ago in the Varias Peak Fire. And county rescue operations will not be able to aid injured hunters or backpackers because there is no other timely alternative for aiding lost or injured families. Whereas old and new neighbors are blocked and excluded from using the public road which passes through the Hosea property, and one resident was refused access for the purpose of horseback riding for children with cancer. The Hosea text indicated gate closed and told their neighbors to talk to my attorney. Whereas county residents and visitors have a legal and constitutional right to the use of this historic road, including but not limited to the right of prescriptive easement. Now therefore, be it hereby resolved that the governing body of the San Miguel County Commissioners hereby adopts this resolution to demand that any gate, chain, or debris used to block Road B55 be immediately removed and the road opened without obstruction. If not, the county instructs its attorney to file an injunction and suit to correct this injustice, which takes away the rights enjoyed by San Miguel citizens for more than 100 years. Resolved in this session, August 13, 2019.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Trujillo. Do I have a motion on the floor to approve?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Nahar?
motion to approve resolution number 2019-08-013.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Nahar, second by Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Madam Chair, Maria Martinez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Harold Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Janice Varela,
Yes.
Commissioner Max Trujillo,
Yes.
and Commissioner Chris Nahat.
Yes.
Next, we move to item number 3, update on Pecos mining project. Presenter Commissioner Janice Varela and Frank Pancho.
Madam Chairman, just a short addition, if I may.
Okay.
For all those who spoke on this issue, I need your help. I'm Dave Novello, the county attorney. And if you wish to help the county help you, then I need your addresses and phone numbers, because I may want to call you to testify, because what you have to say here is exactly what I need a judge to hear. So let me pass around this list. Please put down your name, address, phone number, or email. And also, if you know ancianos or people who have used that road 100 years ago, or organizations such as the Land Grant for the Aztecas or community groups that can speak as far as the community, if you'll just, and let me get you a pen there. If you just put down their names and as best you can the numbers so I can contact them. This helps me prepare the case for the district judge to hear. Can we turn it over to you? If you wish to testify and you have a solid about the road, yes. Yes, you may. I'm sorry.
No problem. So we move to item number 3, update on the Pecos mining project. Presenter Commissioner Janice Varela and Frank Pancho Ardalo.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and members of the public. So for those of you who aren't familiar, there's a company called New World Cobalt with their American subsidiary, CoMexico, who submitted an application to do some mining up in Pecos. Yeah. There's a company by the name of New World Cobalt. They're based in Perth, Australia. They have an American subsidiary called CoMexico, and they have submitted an application to do some mining up in Pecos. This mining includes 4,300 acres, 5 million tons of ore. They submitted this application in May of this year. It's being now reviewed by Mining and Minerals Division of the state. This body, the San Miguel County Commissioner, passed a resolution against this in June 28th meeting of that. And since then, there has been a groundswell of opposition to this, including the Upper Pecos Watershed Association, of which I am president, New Mexico Wild, the New Mexico Acequia Association, the Sierra Club, the Trout Unlimited, Amigos Bravos, and Jemez Pueblo, and particularly the Pecos people of Jemez Pueblo, and those are the direct descendants of the people who lived in Pecos. So there's been a coalition that has formed against this mining. There's also a written petition that has been circulated with probably over 200 signatures, and there is an online petition that is going on which has over 1,000 signatures to it. The Upper Pecos Watershed Association, we're having a public information meeting this Thursday, August 15th at 6 p.m. in Pecos at the Village Council Chambers. And I'm inviting all of you to attend that. It'll be a little more in depth from what I'm going to give here. So there were, after the initial application to Mining and Minerals Division, there were 3 requests for public hearings. There was a request from New Mexico Wild, from our group, the Upper Pecos Watershed Association, and from the New Mexico Acequia Association. Unfortunately, there wasn't a request from the County of San Miguel. That being said, the Mining and Minerals Division are accepting comments until the hearing record is closed. So there hasn't been a date set for any of these hearings. So my assumption is that they're still accepting comments since they even haven't had the hearing and that is still open. In a related matter, Santa Fe County, the mine actually takes place in Santa Fe County, just right outside San Miguel County's border. It concerns us in San Miguel County because we're going to see all the mine waste and all the traffic that mine, if it goes through, will create. Santa Fe County will have their hard rock mining ordinance on their agenda in their August 30th meeting, or their August 27th meeting. So if you go to the Mining and Minerals Division of the state has a quick link to all of the administrative procedures that have happened on this particular application, of which I'll just go with a couple of the highlights.
I have a quick question. So when that public hearing takes place, San Miguel County can be representative at that meeting as well, right? Just because we didn't submit the letter doesn't mean that we can't represent San Miguel County, right? Because it's only one public hearing for whoever attends, right? Or are they having separate hearings?
Well, because the mining is taking place in Santa Fe County, we, the Upper Pecos Watershed Association, have requested that there be 2 meetings, that there's one in Santa Fe County and one in Pecos. So my assumption is yes, that there still be, you guys can still get on the record.
We can still represent San Miguel
Yes,
County. Okay,
on that.
just checking. And we will be notified of those dates?
Yes.
Okay, how does one get notified?
So if you go to the, you probably need to contact the Mining and Minerals Division to make sure that you get on their notification. And the lead for that is a gentleman by the name of David O'Huri. And all this information is available at www.mmd.state.nm.us/MARP/Terero.html. And it's all there in black and white. So on the most recent happenings on the mine is the original application they had wanted to do 84 exploratory drill holes, and that has now been reduced to 32. Their application still lacks a hydrological survey, a biological survey, and a cultural survey, of which they're being questioned on that right now, and they haven't. CoMexico hasn't responded to any of those that's on record. They may have done it orally or something, but there's no written record of them responding to those surveys. We do know, and through our volunteers, that there is part of the area that they want to mine is habitat for the Mexican spotted owls, and the Forest Service has failed to do any surveying in that area for I don't know how many years. So they are allowing CoMexico to hire a third party to complete that survey. And so basically those are the highlights, and that's where we're at right now. And we do have this Thursday, again, we do have a Thursday meeting in the Village of Pecos at 6 p.m. at the Village Councils if you want further in-depth information on this.
Thank you so much, Pancho, and thank you, everyone. Thank you, my fellow commissioners, for addressing this and sharing the concerns for our water and our watershed and our county. The meeting on Thursday, like Pancho mentioned, that's this Thursday at 6 o'clock. Paul Robinson, who presented at our meeting here on June 28th, will be presenting at that meeting. And he is an expert on mining and reclamation, and I've been working with him, Pancho and I, for over 30 years on the Terrero and El Molino cleanup in Pecos and restoration. So we're still monitoring it because it's a Band-Aid on it. We still have to keep our eye on it. So this would add insult to injury, would just be a lot bigger than Terrero. There are a lot of questions, more questions now than answers. And since it borders San Miguel County, but it's in the Santa Fe side right now, the application goes to them for permitting for the exploratory drill pads, the drill site right now. Eventually, we don't know when, it may come to San Miguel County if it does turn into a mining application. Right now, it's just for exploration. All the access, even for exploration, would be through San Miguel County, through our state roads, the Pecos River, Indian Creek, Holy Ghost Creek. We have the Holy Ghost Ipimopsis. It's an endangered flower that grows there, only place on the planet besides the owl. There are other endangered species. Our water is critical to protect that. So it's very important to hear from you. And our county is addressing this, and we're working also on adding to our extractive resources ordinance. Right now we have a good oil and gas ordinance on the books, and we're working on hard rock mining. And we'll be having hearings on that for the public, so we'll invite you to come and see what's going on, and we want to get the best protections that we can for our county and for our residents and for our water. It's critical that we all come out. So thank you very much, my colleague and cousin Pancho, and I'm glad that, yes, Chris.
Madam Chair, there was a real good article, I don't know if you saw it in the Santa Fe Reporter last week, by Ralphie Heel, who is a farmer up there, actually, who comes to this flea market here and sells his good here. He's very concerned about the downstream effects.
Yes, and we have several acequias, I think 30 acequias that are downstream from the mine, and the New Mexico Acequia Commission, which Ralphie Hill is chair of, and the Acequia Association, which Paula Garcia is the director of, are both concerned and have expressed it. And I think they got a letter in also, I believe. Yeah. They also got their letter in, so they are very concerned, and they'll be attending the meeting and with us on this fight, because yes, you're right, it's very critical for our farmers. And I do hear what our people, our friends, neighbors from Conchas are saying about the contaminants there, and we're very concerned. And I also, separately, want to address that issue too. But regarding toxins and poisons that are getting into our community and our water, we're on guard with this one. And thank you all. We'll need the community to all come when the time is. There'll be a lot of hearings. I'm sure there's the one that Energy Minerals is not scheduled yet, but they'll be having. Forest Service, we don't know when or if they're going to have one, so it'd be good to call your Forest Service officials and ask them that question and encourage them to hold a hearing on the Forest Service as well. And if you have any questions, you can always contact me. I'm available, and then
and we're available also at Pecos.
We have a question here by Commissioner Garcia.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Varela, would it be advisable to maybe hold a public meeting at the Senior Center in San Miguel? There's a lot of residents there that have agricultural land, and I think that it would be beneficial if you think it's something that we could consider doing.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
It could be at the San Miguel Center or maybe even the Villanueva Center.
That's a great suggestion. Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. I know it's we're all one county, but Pecos to Santa Fe and the valley in between, we're a little bit distant and not so connected. So that's a great idea. I believe we'll probably be having, I'm sure we're going to have more than one meeting, different sites. And then also for San Miguel County, when we have more information as this progresses. And of course, we'll have the hearing when we have the ordinance presented, but in between that, I'm sure we can have another meeting here, but I do like your idea to take it to San Miguel and to the valley.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Thank you, Commissioner Varela and Pancho. I would like to see if we can maybe direct our manager to write a letter to the Forest Service and to Energy and Minerals Department to have a public hearing in San Miguel County. I think it's incumbent, in fact, I think it's mandated by the U.S. Department of Agriculture for any affected county in a situation like this, not only to be notified, but to be partnered with for something to this magnitude. So I stress that we, as San Miguel County, although the drill holes are not going to take place in San Miguel County, I would like to stress to the Forest Service and to Energy and Minerals that we are an affected county and we need to be heard on this. Because our roads are going to be used, our water is on the brink of contamination from mining, and I don't see that we are not an affected county by this at all. We need to be more a part of this conversation.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Madam Chair, members of the Commission, I will prepare a letter requesting a public hearing here in San Miguel County, and I will submit that letter to the Energy, Minerals, and Natural Resources Department.
Thank you. Forest Service.
And the Forest Service. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item number 4, Manager's Report. Presenter Vidal Martinez, County Manager.
Madam Chair, members of the Commission, I have 3 items to present today. Number 1 is New Mexico County's annual conference request for proposal. Number 2, Racino feasibility study. And number 3, a legal government application grant. With number 1, the New Mexico County's annual conference request for proposals, Ms. Yolanda Cruz is not here today, so that item is on number 16, so I will save my comments for when we reach number 16.
Okay, thank you.
Number 2, Racino feasibility study. The New Mexico Horse Racing Commission has declined to grant a 6-state horse track and casino license. The New Mexico Racing Commission announced Thursday, August 1st, it would not approve another license following months of debates. Under the state's compacts with casino operating tribes, only 6 racinos are allowed in New Mexico. The 5 existing racinos are in Hobbs, Ruidoso, Farmington, Albuquerque, and Sunland Park. I had the opportunity a couple of weeks ago to present this item at the Chamber of Commerce meeting. And the issue that was brought up is if the county is going to prepare a proposal, the first step would be to design a feasibility study. So at this time, I'm requesting any feedback from the Commission to proceed with the feasibility study. I did meet with Mr. Alex DeFoya, and he did indicate to me that we could apply for specific funds for a feasibility study. So at this time, I would like Alex just to give a few minutes brief explanation of the process that the county would have to take for a feasibility study.
Good afternoon. It's just just a few steps. First of all, we would request authorization from the Board of County Commissioners to proceed, and I don't know how what process the county manager will do that. I don't know if he's asking for today, but then we would develop a scope of work for a request for proposals for professional services for a feasibility study. for the study that's yet to be named. Of course, we would receive proposals and establish a committee to review and evaluate the proposals, then make a recommendation to the county commission to enter into a contract and start the work on a study to determine the feasibility of a racino in this area. And the whole idea for that feasibility study is to include it in a package for a proposal that would be submitted to the state. And we want to be able to show if such a racino project would work in this area for San Miguel County and the northern part of the state. There's possible funding that we're looking at, possible grant application for funding to the New Mexico Finance Authority for a study. We've applied in the past for other studies and of course county funds. And then we're looking at this as an economic development initiative. So we would also submit a request for funding assistance to the New Mexico Economic Development Department. And that's where we're at least as far as the process is concerned.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Trujillo has a question.
Thank you.
Mr. Tafoya and Mr.
Yes.
Martinez, did I just hear you say that the New Mexico Gaming Commission is not going to allow another license for a racino?
That is correct, Commissioner. Recently, there was an announcement by the New Mexico Racing Commission that there has been a decline to grant the 6th state horse track and casino license.
Okay, so would this not be a moot point if there's not a chance of getting a license, or?
Madam Chair, members of the commission, if the state and the horsing and the racing commission decide to move forward, the question then is, if they open it up, would San Miguel County be interested in submitting a proposal? If in the future they decide to move forward. What occurred in the past is when they requested proposals, we did not have a proposal ready to submit.
Okay.
There was a letter that was submitted and it was rejected. We did not have any proposal. But we don't know. To answer your question, we don't know if at the state level they're going to allow this. If they do allow it and they do open it up, are we prepared through a feasibility study to submit? But again, we don't know.
Thank you.
Madam Chair. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
A couple of weeks ago, I had an opportunity to meet with a gentleman by the name of Gregory Brown, who is the publisher of the national magazine called Cowboys and Indians, who was coming into town and was was looking into purchasing 12,000 acres that were for sale up here north of Las Vegas, just this side of Story Lake, I believe. But anyway, he was looking at purchasing that property for this specific reasons. He wanted to explore the opportunity of possibly opening up a racino. However, I found out that he underbid the project and he lost the sale. But he does have an interest. If somebody's interested, they would come in, purchase a property, and at that time we could possibly do the study, possibly explore more avenues, more resources for funding, because that's what he was doing. He was here to purchase a property, hopefully, and then look for people to buy into this project. But there is some interest, and I think it'd be a good source with the horsing community, the racing community, the horse community that we have in this county. I think it would be a good thing to explore as far as revenue and as far as economic development. It's clean industry, maybe the gambling not so much, but the horse racing for sure. But anyway, I think it's something worth exploring.
Madam Chair, thank you, Commissioner Nahad. You just answered the questions I was going to ask. I haven't been involved in this or hadn't heard anything about it. My question was, would it be a county project or private venture that the county would support? And I think you just answered that there's that option. So I wasn't sure what the county role is in examining this. And I'm sorry that my dad is not with us anymore. He would be so happy. He loved the track. unless you drive to Albuquerque or further. But anyway, so those are my questions, is how is it being approached, and if it's a private venture, so it looks like it is a private venture, and so if they decide to come in, then the county could be ready to back them up and support them. Is that our role, or what would the county role be?
Madam Chair, members of the commission, our first step would be to design that feasibility study, put a report together to see if that would be feasible for our county to move forward on this. I think that would be the next step. And like Mr. Dubois mentioned, we will look at DFA to see if there's any grant money that we could use and we'll submit an RFP and see if we can hire somebody to do that feasibility study. I think that would be the first step.
Do you say DFA or do you say Finance Authority? I thought you said Finance Authority or DFA? Did you say, he just said DFA, and I thought you said, was it the Finance? Finance Authority, yeah.
Mexico Economic Development Department.
Okay.
Are two of the agencies that we look at for.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Madam Chair, on number 3, illegal dumping application grant. We will proceed with submitting an application for a grant to address any illegal dumping sites within our county. Right now, I will be working on a recycling grant application for the Pecos area, and this will be the second one. So right now, I'll be working with our Public Works Director to identify an illegal dumping site within our county. And once we identify that illegal dumping site, then we will work with putting together a grant application to see if we can get that cleaned up. But if the commission has any suggestions or recommendations, I know one area that was brought up was right there by Luna Community College behind the old shooting range. That was one potential site that we could focus on to clean up. So I'll pass this by, but I just want to let the commission know that that's another application that I'll be working on.
Because I know in previous meeting we had Mr. Lopez had stated that we would have a day that we were going to think about putting together a day that all the dump sites would be open, that people could throw the trash for free. Washers and all that, we'd be collecting all that stuff. Are we still going to go forward with that, or what are we going to do in regards to that?
I can address that issue
when Mr. Lopez comes to present, we can ask him that question. I think that would be something that we should think of doing.
Madam Chair and members of the commission, on this specific grant application, we would be required to identify an area where illegal dumping has taken place. And then from there we could approach the New Mexico Environmental Department and let them know. We do a cost analysis on how much that would cost to clean it up. So that would be another project that we would be looking at.
And to take forth with this project, would we be able to hire additional people to do the work, or how would that work? Would we be funded for employment?
Madam Chair, members of the commission, it is my understanding that we could hire part-time. It would not be a full-time position. But to my understanding, it would be to whatever is necessary to clean up things.
Is that complete?
Madam Chair, that's all I have.
Okay. We'll move to item number 5, Memorandum of Understanding, MOU between San Miguel County Family and Community Health Council and San Miguel County. Presenter Vidal Martinez, County Manager.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, at this time I'm requesting approval for the commission to allocate $10,000 to the San Miguel County Family and Community Health Council to support collaboration efforts to improve the health of the San Miguel County community.
Do I have a motion on the floor to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Nahar.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Item number 6, Memorandum of Understanding between San Miguel County and the City of Las Vegas Senior Program. Presenter Vidal Martinez, County Manager.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, at this time I'm requesting approval to allocate $75,000 for the senior programs within San Miguel County. The funds will be used for meals, transportation services, Tai Chi classes, and weekly activities for senior citizens. So at this time I'm requesting approval.
Madam Chair, motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Varela. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Item number 7, agreement between San Miguel County and the Villanueva David F. Cargo Library, El Valle Community Center. Presenter Vidal Martinez, Manager.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, at this time I'm requesting approval for the allocation of $30,000 to the Villanueva David F. Cargo Library and Valle Community Center that will be used for early childhood literacy, workforce development, and digital skills training for students and adults. At this time, I'm requesting approval.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 8, memorandum of understanding between San Miguel County and NMSU San Miguel County 4-H Extension Office. Presenter Vidal Martinez, County Manager.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, at this time I'm requesting approval for the allocation of $36,287 to the County 4-H Extension Office for 4-H educational and services programs. At this time I'm requesting approval.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 9, agreement between San Miguel County and Samaritan House Incorp. Presenter Vidal Martinez, County Manager.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, at this time I'm requesting approval of the allocation of $30,000 to the Samaritan House Incorporated for emergency and temporary shelter, meals, showers, and laundry facilities, vouchers, and case management. At this time I'm requesting approval.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 10, Census Outreach Initiative. Presenter Diego Trujillo, IT. Informational only.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, today we're asking for resolution number 08-13-19RA. It's being presented regarding the creation of a 2020 San Miguel County Complete Count Committee. This is a requirement by the U.S. Census Bureau and DFA in order to become eligible for approximately $54,800 for San Miguel County to assist the local Census Bureau in getting us close to 100% accurate count within our county. So the first step is creating a commission, which is the first step, like I said, in meeting the criteria to be eligible for that $54,000 in funding from DFA.
Thank you. We'll move to item number 11, resolution number 08-13-19-RA. Presenter Maria Martinez, County Commissioner. The resolution number 08-13-19RA, creation of the 2020 San Miguel County Complete Count Committee. Whereas the U.S. Census Bureau is required by Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution to conduct an accurate count of the nation's population every 10 years. And whereas the U.S. Census Bureau is required by the United States Constitution to conduct a count of all persons. And whereas the census count requires extensive work, and the Census Bureau requires partners at the state, tribal, and local level to ensure a complete and accurate count. And whereas census data helps determine how many seats each state will have in the U.S. House of Representatives and is necessary for an accurate and fair redistricting of state legislative seats, county and cities, councils, and voting districts. And whereas federal and state funding is allocated to communities and decisions are made on matters of national and local importance based on on census data and housing, and whereas information from the 2020 census and American Community Service are vital tools for economic development and increased employment, and whereas the information collected by the census is confidential and protected by law, and whereas a united voice from business, government, community-based, faith-based organizations, educators, healthcare providers, media, and others will enable the New Mexico 2020 statewide Complete Count Commission message to reach all New Mexicans. And whereas San Miguel County Complete Count Committee will bring together a cross-section of trusted local community members who will utilize their local knowledge and expertise to reach out to local residents where they are, creating genuine relationships, community buy-in, and trust. And whereas San Miguel County Complete Count Committee will work with the Census Bureau and the New Mexico 2020 statewide Complete Count Commission to strive for a complete and accurate count. Now therefore be it resolved that San Miguel County establishes the 2020 Census Complete Count Committee. Do I have a motion on the floor to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Varela. Second by Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Madam Chair, members of the commission,
Manager Martinez.
I want to thank Diego Trujillo and the staff for taking on this endeavor. I just want to recognize the work that you and your staff are doing, so thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Martinez.
Thank you, Diego.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item number 12, San Miguel County Detention Center Medical and Behavioral Health Services. Presenter Matthew Elwell. Warden.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, before you is a contract that the Commission approved to negotiate on July 9th at the Commission meeting. It's for medical and behavioral health care at the detention center for the inmates that we incarcerate. This contract has been negotiated, and it is on a term of 1 year with a new renewability of 3 additional years for a total of 4 years. This has been reviewed by our legal attorney, and it was found sufficient for contract, so I recommend your review and approval.
Do I have a motion on the floor?
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Nahar.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Item number 13, San Miguel County Detention Center inspection by County Commission.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, the San Miguel County Detention Center is requesting the Commission to pick a date in the month of September for a detention center inspection as required by New Mexico State Statute, Section 33-3-4, inspections of a jail by appropriate governing body. That will be an official meeting, so once you pick the date, we will make notification and you will do the inspection at the detention center.
Are there dates that you have in mind, or you just want us to pick the date?
Whatever dates are what the Commission would like. We're available at any time.
Would the next Commission meeting be appropriate?
That would be appropriate. We could do it before the Commission meeting if you'd like.
If we could do it at 12?
We could do it at 12, yes.
Would that work for everybody?
Would we have enough time?
Would that give us enough time?
Yes, 2 hours will be plenty of time.
That's good with me.
Okay.
Madam Chair, Mr. Warden, I know you mentioned about inviting some of the few delegators. Senator Campos, Representative Salazar, Senator Stefanik as well.
Yes.
Would this be appropriate to combine?
Yes, it would.
Because it would give the legislators the opportunity to ask any questions that they may have of the commission and your staff. Would that be?
That's appropriate, and we will make that happen.
That would be on September the 10th?
September the 10th.
I was going to recommend maybe that we do it at 11. That way we have a little bit of wiggle room.
Okay.
So we're not rushing through the day.
Okay. We will start it at 11.
Okay.
And we will have lunch for you guys as well.
September 10th then? Okay, item 14 was tabled, so we move on to item 15, recommendation to approve the amended administrative regulation number 08-13-19 EP San Miguel County Employee Fund Program Guidelines. Presenter, Ms. Eileen Cedillo, Human Resource Supervisor.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. In front of you, you have the administrative regulation for the San Miguel County Employee Fund Program Guidelines. There were just a few minor changes to the Employee Fund Program. And primarily, I want to take you to Section 2, which involves the Employee Fund Committee. Originally, the committee was comprised of 12 members, and it was just not manageable. And so we reduced that down to 3 members. And then we went ahead in Section 3 and we outlined the specific responsibilities of the committee. Section 4 stayed the same. Of course, Section 1, the purpose stayed the same. I should have started with Section 1. The purpose of the San Miguel County Employee Fund is to unite efforts of the county employees in assisting fellow employees in time of illness, death, and/or retirement. The Employee Fund will also provide funding for recreational activities that allow San Miguel County employees to interact in a social atmosphere for the purpose of promoting morale. There was discussion on Section 5 of the rates. However, we left it at $1 per pay period. So I think it's still manageable. The benefits stayed the same. So basically, it was primarily a change in the makeup of the committee, as well as defining the responsibilities. Are there any questions?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Eileen, is there an option for an employee or even a member of the commission to donate or add to that fund as they see fit, or
yes,
as they
so
can?
so currently everybody is contributing to the fund at the rate that we established, the $1 per pay period. However, in I believe it's Section 7, there's in the event that funds are not available, or if they want to donate more, approved fundraising activities may be considered, and contributions to the fund can be made specifically to the employee fund.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's that opportunity to specifically contribute to the employee fund.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you for putting this fund together, whoever put it together. I think it's a good fund and it helps our employees, in the time of need. And just to get together and communicate with one another.
It's been nice. Recently we've had a couple of retirees, and they get a $50 check, which is, they really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you again. I appreciate that. We'll move on to item number 6. Do we need approval for that?
I think we have to get an approval.
Do I have a motion on the floor to approve?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Nahar.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 16, New Mexico County's annual conference request for proposal. Mr. Manager Martinez will be presenting on this item, I believe.
That is correct, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, members of the Commission, you should have on your computer a copy of the New Mexico County's annual conference request for proposals. Basically, what this proposal explains is we have the opportunity to submit to host the conference here in Las Vegas, New Mexico. You'll Yolanda Cruz is coordinating the efforts. We've had the conference here before. I think it occurred the last 8 years we had the conference. I think it was 8 or 10 years ago we had the conference. If we decide to submit the proposal, it will go to a committee through the New Mexico Association of Counties. And if the committee decides and approves our proposal, then we will host it here in Las Vegas. If that occurs, we're looking at between 600 and 750 people in our community that will contribute at a minimum $215,000 to local hotels, restaurants, and so forth. So it is a benefit to us. We did have several meetings, and the committee decided that this would be in our best interest. So any comments or questions?
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, yes, I'll take over for a few minutes.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, I believe it's a good thing for the county. I've been here, we've had 2 of them within the last probably 20 years. The first one is when I was the sheriff, and it's very beneficial to the county. We had the opening night of the ceremonies was at the Plaza Hotel, and they extended tables out to the gazebo. They had the opening reception there. They had several events at the World College. Highlands University hosted most of the events and used their building for our classes, and it brought in a lot of money in it. I remember at that time when we were going through the drought, and people were they were asking people not to take long showers and things like that. But anyway, it was very successful in it. I mean, and people really, and to this day, they tell me that was probably one of the best conferences they've had. And I agree, we need to do everything that we can to get it. It's very beneficial as far as our gross receipts, and I'm all in favor of it.
Any other questions, comments? Mr. Manager, I myself was part of the last conference that was hosted here, and I agree with Commissioner Nahara. It was a very successful event. I've been a part of other events other conferences that have occurred, and every community that hosts these conferences benefits from it. And so I appreciate that your willingness to submit this proposal.
Vice Chairman Garcia and members of the commission, at this time I request approval to submit this proposal.
Motion to approve?
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Nahara, second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Next item is item number 17, Solier West Contract Approval Public Safety Facility. And we have Mr. Alex Tafoya presenting.
County staff, along with the county manager, entered into contract negotiations with NCA Architects for the proposed public safety facility. NCA Architects submitted their cost for the conceptual design and also a cost proposal for the final schematic design. And after discussing it with county manager, county staff discussing with county manager, we determined that the initial cost proposal of $21,458 for the conceptual design was rather high. Was interesting that cost was based on a $4.7 million construction cost estimate, and yet we hadn't even started the footprint for the square footage or anything like that. So we took a look at the state procurement code, which provides under the best interest of the county to enter into contract negotiations with a second responsible firm. So we did that. That second firm was is Soleil West Architects, and we asked them only for a cost proposal for the conceptual design. They submitted a cost proposal of $3,200 plus gross receipts tax. In the meantime, because NC Architects knew that we were discussing contract negotiations with them, we told them that we were pursuing the county's option that's provided under a state procurement code. NCA then resubmitted their cost proposal and reduced it down to $12,500, which we feel is still a little high for a conceptual design. We want to use that conceptual design for a capital outlay request at the January session. So what we would like is authorization to complete the contract negotiations with Soleil West Architects and authorize the county manager to sign the contract. And we'd use the standard agreement between the county and the architects that is provided by DFA Local Government Division. We would like to take that route.
Do I have a motion on the floor to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Nahara. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 18, legislative agreement number ZD9046 El Pueblo Fire Truck. Background information, San Miguel County received 2019 legislative agreement number ZD9046, which provides $50,000 to purchase and equip the fire truck for El Pueblo Volunteer Fire Department in San Miguel County.
So with that, we're asking the Board of County Commissioners to accept the grant agreement and authorize Commission Chair Maria Martinez to sign the agreement.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve by Commissioner Varela, second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Item number 19, appointment to Lodgers Tax Advisory Board. Presenter, Alex Tafoya, Planning and Zoning Supervisor.
Yes, we have a vacancy on the Lodgers Tax Advisory Board, that a vacancy for representation of the lodging industry. And the Lodgers Tax Advisory Board has attempted to find someone to fill that position so that we can make a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners. And the board has not had much success in finding someone. So what we would like the Board of County Commissioners is to consider or solicit any possible candidates that represent the lodging industry to serve on the Lodgers Tax Advisory Board, and then make a recommendation now or come back and make a recommendation to the Commission Chair for appointment of that individual. We just haven't been able to find anybody.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a recommendation if I'm in order.
Commissioner Garcia.
So there's criteria in filling these positions, am I correct?
Yes, 2 individuals from the lodging industry, 2 from a tourist-related industry, and 1 individual at large, just representing the general public. This particular vacancy is for the lodging industry, and there was an individual that was recommended by the Lodgers Tax Advisory Board from Pandaray, the Pandaray
Resort?
Yes, and that individual initially said yes and then changed his mind, and I don't know what the reason was for that, but so the board right now doesn't have a recommendation to make, and we'd like to take some sort of process. If the commission doesn't have anybody in mind right now, maybe issue some sort of a letter of interest, advertisement in the newspaper or something. We need to fill that position, and we'd like authorization to be able to take the steps we need to take to do that.
Madam Chair, I would recommend that we contact the manager or the supervisor at Panderay, Mr. Paul Aragon, and ask that he appoint someone from his staff to Panderay. I know that there's representation, most of the representation is on the southern part of the county, am I correct?
That's correct.
So it would be a balance if we could get someone from the northern part of the county to represent, and that's my recommendation.
So are you recommending that we put it on the optic or we contact
No,
him?
that we contact the manager at Panderay, Mr. Paul Aragon, and ask if he could appoint someone from the resort.
So who do you want? Do you want the county manager to
It would
contact
probably
him?
either Alex or the manager.
Do they meet monthly or what are the requirements?
Excuse me?
What are the requirements? Do they meet once a month or where do they meet at?
They could submit a letter of interest or in the case of what Commissioner Garcia is suggesting, we could contact Mr.
No, what I'm
Aragon and
asking,
ask him if they have anybody.
how often do they meet? And-
Oh, twice a year unless there's a special
Twice a year?
meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. Once in April and once in September.
Here in Las Vegas? Or,
Yes. Unless they choose to meet someplace else. but
okay, they can.
Recently, they've been meeting here, yes.
So, Manager Martinez, you'll make the contact with him?
Madam Chair, members of the commission, I will meet with Mr. Aragon and proceed forward with the nomination.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 20, application number CU 0260 Pecos RT Monopole. Presenter Alex Tafoya, Planning and Zoning Supervisor.
The county received application number CU-0260, Pecos RT Monopole, which was submitted by Century Tel Corporation. What they submitted the application for is to obtain conditional use permit approval to construct and operate a 60-foot telecommunications monopole on property located at Silver Feather Trail in the vicinity of Pecos. The process requires that the application be heard by the San Miguel County Planning and Zoning Commission. They did that on July 31st, conducted a public hearing, and approved a resolution number PZ-271, which recommends to the Board of County Commissioners approval of the application. Our ordinance requires that we bring the application to the Board of County Commissioners so that they can hear the application and conduct a public hearing on the application. So that's what we're asking. And also, we're also asking that the application be approved so we can issue a conditional use permit. The pole will work in conjunction with a 50-foot pole that is to be located within the village limits of the village of Pecos. We have Mr. Leo Baca here from CenturyLink. He's the Government Affairs Director to explain the purpose of the project. And we also have Bonnie McGowan here who owns the parcel of property that the pole is being proposed to be located. So if we could hear what Mr. Baca has to say, and then afterwards ask for public comment.
Mr. Baca?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, my name is Leo Baca. I'm the Government Affairs Director for CenturyLink here in New Mexico. CenturyTel is the applicant in this case because CenturyLink is comprised of both CenturyTel and the former Quest properties. And historically, the Pecos area has been served by CenturyTel. The purpose of this project that we are asking on this application is to provide improved and reliable phone service to that area known as Birds of a Feather, in the subdivision of Birds of a Feather. And one little bonus that comes with this improved phone service is there's also broadband capabilities that comes with this service. So this area, Birds of a Feather, will now be able to have high-speed broadband service in addition to much improved phone service. And with that, I'll be available to answer any questions that the commissioners may have.
Chairman?
Commissioner Varela?
Yes, I have a question. So that broadband service, will that be available only to that community, to Birds of a Feather? Will it be available to any of the other residents in Pecos or nearby?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Varela, this particular project is providing service to Birds of a Feather. That's why it's called a point-to-point radio system. So basically what we're doing is we're replacing the old phone lines that went to Birds of a Feather. So this particular issue is only addressing that
What would
area.
it take to bring broadband to the rest of the community?
That we'll have to do an assessment and see where the gaps are and see what we need to do to bring broadband to other areas of Pecos. I'd be willing to meet with you and others to explore that in the future.
I appreciate that. Let's meet. If I can get your card, I'd like to contact you and have a set up a meeting. Thank you.
Absolutely, Commissioner Varela. And in fact, I'll be back in Las Vegas tomorrow speaking at the Economic and Rural Development Interim Legislative Committee, and we're going to be talking about rural broadband. And I do have some ideas on how we can bring more broadband to rural areas of New Mexico.
Thank you. That's something that's a desperate need in our county, especially in my district. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, for all those people who testified on this matter of gave information, I want you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. And for this purpose of a public hearing, I want it on the record that the information you gave was true and correct to the best of your knowledge. And that would include staff. So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Leo Baca,
Do swear
do swear
that the information that I have provided or will provide
that the information I have provided or will provide
to the Board of Commissioners
to the Board of Commissioners
is true and correct
is true and correct
to the best of my knowledge.
to the best of my knowledge.
Any further questions?
At this point, we can go ahead and close the hearing with a motion and a second.
Motion?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Nahat, second by Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion for approval.
Do I have a motion on the floor to approve application number CU 0260?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Varela.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We move on to item 21, lease agreement, Vertical Bridge Development, LCC. Presenter, Alex Tafoya, Planning and Zoning.
The county has been working with Vertical Bridge Development, LLC, in regard to conditional use permit application CU-0250. The county commission approved at its November meeting of 2018, resolution number 11-13-18- Pueblo Fire, which resolution approved a conditional use permit between the county and Vertical Bridge LLC, with the lease agreement being subject to approval by the New Mexico State Board of Finance. What has happened since then is the county received the final lease agreement that the county has been working with Vertical Bridge LLC to develop The county also received a fair market value appraisal that was conducted of the property in question, and that property is the Pueblo Volunteer Fire Department property. That appraisal needed to be reviewed by the state of New Mexico Taxation and Revenue Property Tax Division. They conducted their review and approved the appraisal. The process now, because it's county property, is we need to submit the appraisal and also the lease agreement to the New Mexico Board of Finance, State Board of Finance, for their review and approval as well. So we have two items that need to be completed. One is approval of the lease agreement by the Board of County Commissioners, the lease agreement between San Miguel County and Vertical Bridge Development LLC, and also authorization that has to be granted by the Board of County Commissioners to revise the lease agreement as may be required by the Board of Finance. So the lease agreement will go before the Board of Finance with all the documentation. We have the packet prepared already, and they may require some changes and want a process set that so those changes can be made without having to go through the whole process again. So we're asking that the lease agreement be approved. It calls for a $600 a month lease payment to the county, and also asking for the county to delegate authority, I guess to me, to revise the lease agreement as may be required, and also asking that the chairperson, Maria Martinez, sign that authorization to revise lease agreement.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Oh, yes, we have Mr. Gary Cassell here. He's the site acquisition specialist. He could, in case there's any additional, any questions at all that the commission may have.
So to give you authorization to make changes to the lease as needed?
If we need, if the Board of Finance will review the lease agreement, and if they have any, and they'll do it at a meeting, the regular meeting, and which we'll have to attend, or someone from the county will have to attend, and they may or may not have revisions that they want to make. So they require, they provide us with a checklist, and they require that someone be authorized to revise that lease agreement and send it back. I don't think there's going to be any revisions because we've already sent it to the Board of Finance for their review, and we incorporated language and suggestions that they recommended. So I think we'll be okay, but that's all part of the package that we're required to submit.
Will we be notified as changes are made?
Yes, yes.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I have a question, Madam Chair.
Question by Commissioner Garcia.
Madam Chair, I have a question to either our county manager or our finance director. There's going to be a $600 a month lease on this coming to the county. Where do these proceeds go? Do they go to the fire department? Do they go to the general fund? Where would those deposits be made?
Madam Chairwoman and Commissioner Garcia, at this point, I don't think we decided meeting with our manager and our fire chief.
All right.
Questions been asked and someone here as to what we may
Okay.
I have a question also, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Varela?
And right now, are they paying rent, or is this a new, a different arrangement altogether? I don't understand what
No,
the changes.
the county will lease approximately 2,500 square feet of the 1 acre that the Pueblo Volunteer Fire Department sits on to Vertical Bridge Development, and Vertical Bridge Development will then pay the county $600 a month lease payment for the area. They'll construct there. It's about a 195-foot tower that constructed, their lattice tower that'll be constructed. Property will be fenced, and they'll maintain their area of the property.
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Question from Commissioner Trujillo.
Mr. Tafoya, or maybe this gentleman can answer. So it's a communications tower, and is there a specific client that you're building this tower for, or are there going to be a potential for other clients to use that same tower for their communications?
Gary Castle, representing Vertical Bridge. The absolute answer to that is that Vertical Bridge is a tower company, like an American tower company or a Crown Castle. These are major companies that we have, like over 200,000 in the nation. This is exactly what we do. In other words, we want carriers to come aboard. I believe you may have Verizon as the carrier of choice for right now. In other words, they selected our site. Excuse me, rephrase. Verizon needed some kind of carrier antenna site within the framework of the area that we actually built the site, and we'll be putting Verizon on the tower. And if anybody else, meaning any other carriers, even the county, city, no matter who it is, we would love to have them on the tower. I mean, we rent the space. I mean, we might give you a special deal, but everybody else, yes.
Okay, and that tower could also be used for communications, or maybe to place a repeater for our communications for law enforcement at some point?
Yeah, what happens is the tower itself is built structurally so that way it can handle a certain amount of carriers. Needless to say, we rent space. If one of the emergency, systems wanted to come aboard, first they have to go through the process, because we need to know that it's structurally sound enough for them to be on it, depending on how many carriers we have. And then there's a question of the money side of it. And, because we have a relationship, certainly we want to work with that relationship. So sure. I can't say it's for free because I haven't got that authority. But the end result would be certainly we want to work with especially if it's local, no questions. The answer to your question is yes, we want to work with you.
And just one more question.
No, it's great.
In other counties where you place a tower such as this one, is the cost for rent of that space dependent upon just the space for your tower, or is there a catch or a hitch? Yeah. Once you start renting space on your tower, where maybe an additional amount is given to the public entity, or?
No, what happens is that we rent it out. You get an escalation basically over every year, going on for however many years, and I believe there's 5 terms to this, and each term is 5 years. The escalation moves up, which gives you, some extra money. But we really are in the business of real estate rent. I'm trying to not be too, crass about it, but that's the bottom. That is what we do. And with that said, I think I heard a little bit of a question having to do not only with the space on the pole, but also the equipment space on the ground. That's together as far as we're concerned. We would never just rent space on the ground, right, because that takes up the space that we would need for the pole itself. That's why we offer the opportunity maybe of a cut rate, and I don't want to say that openly, but if you're local and you have a need and there's an emergency scenario or a part of the emergency system that goes along with this, we care about that. So certainly we're going to give to that. I'm not sure exactly what that exactly means. Right. But in every county that we've ever dealt business with, Vertical Bridge has always been wide open to the local needs and that kind of, as long as we're not taking up so much space, like if you have an 8-foot antenna, where we're already dealing, or antennas, where we're already dealing with 2 or 3 other carriers, that might limit the scenario because we might have to redo the pole because of the structural issues. But I'm getting way far in advance to we want to help. If we can do that, we do it.
I appreciate that, and you answered my question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
We move on to item 22, 2019-2020 strategic plan for road projects, tentative plan. Arnold Lopez, Public Works Intern Director, presenter.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Commission. So this afternoon, I'm presenting our strategic plan for 1920, and it's an update, information purposes only. So I'm going to go through the list of our projects that we currently have, and I'll give you a status on them. So I'm going to start off with El Camino, which is the TAP project. That is budgeted for $770,000. It's currently in design phase with Miller Engineering. That one is scheduled for 100% design in 2019 by the end of the year, and looking forward to going into the construction phase of this project in weather permitting, April, May, and hopefully that'll be completed by say May or June of 2020. Our Country Acres drainage project is ongoing. I believe they're probably about 80% as of today. Project moved along pretty good. So then the White Barn Road, that one basically is 100% complete. We had a visit, an inspection to see how the road was holding up this summer, and we found a few boards on the bridge that the contractor is going to have to replace. Other than that, that project is 100% complete. There was a discussion that we are going to have the contractor do an overlay on it, but now that we revisited it, and with the engineer's recommendation, he recommended that we do not apply the 1.5 inches because it held up pretty good during the summer, and we felt that it was probably in our best interest that we do not apply the 1.5 inches. So what that contractor did is he's going to give us a 10-year extension on that project. So you know, the tie-in was going to be difficult on the bridge, and I think you know, that was the best decision to go with a 10-year extension. 8th Street reconstruction project, we had bids were opened. Today we're asking for award of that project to the lowest bidder, and then we're going to fast track it. We're going to move into pre-construction, notice of award, the whole works, and hopefully be in construction in 3 weeks on the 8th Street extension reconstruction project. Cactus Drive in Rowe is currently in design phase, out to Stantec Engineering. That we have budgeted about $75,000 for it. Our San Agustin low water crossing is budgeted at $215,000. It is currently in design phase, but we are awaiting 404 permits on that particular project. As soon as we get the permits, approval on the permits, then we'll move into letting it out for bid, and hopefully that particular project, we want to construct it during the winter months when the river flow is low. So hopefully with weather permitting, we can accomplish that through the winter months. Las Despensas, the $20,000 appropriation is currently with Stantec. They're preparing, you know, all the admin docs and all that to let it out to bid, and we'll contract and get that. That is a base course extension project on Las Despensas. The Rociada Bridge currently also is in design phase with Stantec. We went out, or I went out with the engineering firm. We assessed all these bridges, determined what is needed on them. They will be getting a deck replacement, so they're working on everything to let those out to bid as well. And it actually includes Rociada Bridge, Cañoncito Bridge, La Tewa Bridge, the Leyva Bridge, and the Garrita Bridge. Camp Blue Haven Bridge also, and those will all get deck replacements on them. The Tecolote Bridge is our FEMA bridge. We met with FEMA recently, and so they reassessed the bridge. It was to be a repair on it. Another representative from FEMA came out, and he disagreed with basically just doing a repair. So So with his approval, they're gonna pay for a total reconstruction on that bridge. Prior to that, it wasn't permitted for a reconstruction because the thought was they were gonna relocate the bridge. They'll approve it as long as the bridge stays within the area where it's erected right now. And that's the reason why they're approving it today. So we will shut down that road, and the bridge will be reconstructed where it's at.
And that's the Tecolote Bridge?
Yes, yeah, that's a FEMA bridge out in San Jeronimo.
San Jeronimo? Okay.
And then we have some legislative appropriations that, we signed all the agreements recently. So we're awaiting the full execution of them and notice of obligation. As soon as we receive those, they say it takes about 30 days usually. We'll get those back, and I'm planning on moving pretty rapid with these. One of them is in Guyana's $50,000 appropriation. We're going to do some additional chip seal. As soon as we get notice of obligation, we'll act fast on these and try and get these complete now before the cold months hit. So we have Guyana's 827 for 50,000. Panda Ray's also, we have a combined appropriation there. We're going to end up with about 75,000 for a chip seal on that county road. Chapel, we got 100,000 on it for chip seal as well. And then our Pecos, we're going to design a low water crossing. That one, of course, we will contract with one of our engineering firms and get them on board to start doing a plan and design for that bridge in Pecos B51A. Then also we had our LGRF funds that we're waiting also approval from DOT. We met all our deadlines, and we're just awaiting for those approvals and notice of obligations, and we'll move forward with those. The co-op will be used on El Camino Cinder. The plan is to resurface the trail on Cinder, and we should have some additional monies to maybe resurface another portion, chip seal or something on El Camino Cinder. The local government school bus fund is going to be dedicated to El Llano, which is 84,000. In El Llano, we got a portion that failed, basically there on the swampy area close to the river. That will be totally reconstructed. We'll stabilize that area and prevent it from reoccurring. And again, then we have 150,000 that's going to be used in the Sheridan Road, and that's a CAP LGRF fund. We're planning on doing a chip seal reapplication there for some areas that asphalt has been failing. And again, on these three, we're waiting approval from DOT. Once we get the fully executed documents, we'll move forward to contracting with an engineer and move on to design and construction. That's pretty much a cap on everything that we have currently.
Madam Chair, I have a question, Mr. Lopez. For that $50,000 for my district, which is the design, is that enough money for design? It's a part two question.
I couldn't answer that once we get with an engineer.
So since we don't have funding for the actual project, what good I'm just wondering, I don't have any money for my roads in my district except for that. And if there will be money available to actually construct, to do the work that needs to be done on that low water crossing, it's a public safety issue, like we've talked about before. So is there going to be a possibility to try to get money for that later? So I don't know, to spend $50,000 on a partial design of a project that might not be funded, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, that might be, something to consider with our capital outlay requests, possibly to fund that particular bridge. That would be, up to you all to decide where you want to spend those funds at, but that might be an opportunity. There's always the possibility of redirecting those funds to another road if you so choose. There's been times too that you can, I believe maybe Melinda could offer some information on that, but I believe you could hold that amount for a year or two And if there's other additional fundings, you could combine it and
You're talking about electricity?
yeah, it's an LGRF.
And what's the original extension or deadline?
The deadline on these ones, because they're 2020, it would be December 31st of 2020. And then we always could get an extension on those for a year as well. But I think capital outlay or you know, seeking some funding like that would probably be the best source, I would say.
Any further questions? We'll move to item number 23, recommendation of award of bid for Rocky Road Gravel Products LLC for the 8th Street Reconstruction Project. Presenter, Mr. Lopez.
Okay, so we did advertise. We received 3 bids from 3 reputable companies. Rocky Road Sand and Gravel was the lowest bidder, coming in bidding at $662,565 plus tax. We had the engineer verified, did his bid tabulations, verified all the requirements, and they were all acceptable. So he is qualified lowest bidder. So at this time, we ask approval to award this project to Rocky Road.
Madam Chair, if I'm in order, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Nahad. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Do we need a roll call vote on that one, or is that
That's sufficient.
it's sufficient to have a roll call vote? Or it's good enough, right?
It's good enough.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We move on to item 24, Public Works Division, report for the month of July 2019. Presenter, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you. Our report for the month of July, we've been doing a lot of road improvement over in in the Gonzalez Ranch area over to Aurora. We had a school bus route there that was in need of a lot of repair on some bad areas that we would call. We've been applying base course on those areas. We spent some time over in the fairgrounds preparing those grounds for our county fair. We've been in Las Despensas. We applied some material there. We were over in the eastern part of the state, over in Garita, also over in Mez, and we're currently in Mez Road. We addressed areas in Ojitos Frios, Las Despensas, Magnolia Road, La Lenda Road. We've been doing a lot of mowing throughout various roads in the county. Today, Johnny, our grader operator number 3, is over in Mineral Hill area, addressing some issues over on A18A. Peter Behil is still in Gonzalez Ranch area. Hopefully we'll complete those needed improvements by the end of the week. And Juan Macias is on County Road C53 over to Mays.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Garcia.
You know, Arnold, I'd like to take some time to thank you and your staff. I went and I visited the county fair last week, and the people there were well happy with the work that you provided. I got a call on Saturday because they were looking for someone to get water to them, but they called you and you took care of it. And I want you to know that I appreciate that. We also did that demonstration on the Llano Road, and you had your crew out there to make sure that the road was prepared for the demonstration, and the day of the demonstration, you and your staff were there to support, and I want you to know that I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I have a question, Madam Chair. Mr. Lopez, the road to San Jose, is that on, I don't see it, I don't know the number, is that on this list? Are you able to work on that one? I've been getting calls on that.
Yes, I just got the PO for asphalt. So we will be addressing that hopefully this next week.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
take care of it. And then we're also going to be doing some mowing there as well. We had an issue with our mower. We had planned on doing the mowing and then going in there and addressing that bad area there, the asphalt. They'll be taken care of in a couple of weeks.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Nahar?
No, I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
You're welcome.
We'll move on to item 25, update on probate office and probate court quarterly commissioner report. Presenter Dwight J. Torres, probate judge.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, having served as the probate judge for the last 7 months has been a exciting and learning experience. I've had the opportunity to meet several great people throughout the state, several other probate judges, and to attend several trainings regarding probate and other issues within the judicial system. In the past 7 months, it's been my opinion, or it is my opinion, that probate has provided significant service to the county of San Miguel, and we are working on making better efforts to educate the citizens of San Miguel County about the importance of probate and the probate process. I've taken some steps to help us be a more visual office within the county of San Miguel government, and looking at ways of being a more service-oriented office to the citizens of San Miguel County. Back on August the 15th, I did a talk show on KNMX radio talking about the probate process, the importance of doing a probate, and right after the show, I did get several calls from people who had questions, wanting to set up appointments and talk about their probate issues. And, so I feel it helped. In the last couple of weeks, I've talked to a couple other people, and, some of them missed part of the program. So I'm looking at doing it again sometime now in September. I'm thinking of doing another one and just go through just the basics of probate, the process, and some of the issues. There's a lot of misconceptions out there that people have about probate, and so a lot of people are waiting years to do probates, and the longer they wait, the more tangled a probate can become. As a lot of people don't understand that if there's 3 children and mom and dad died, there's 3 children, one of the child passes away and has 4 children. Well, now those 4 children are added to the heirs of that property. So instead of just having 3 people, now you have 6 people. And as people die off, people are added on, and that's why I say it gets real. It can get tangled, but if they do it sooner, then it helps. It helps things, roll along smoothly. So that's why I want to try to get out there and. Work, bring up the importance of probate to the people out there in hopes of trying to get these things done on a lot sooner basis. I've also met with management at Rogers Mortuary and at Gonzalez Funeral Home. I've taken them brochures about the probate process. Both of them have folders that they give their families at the arrangement time when they're doing arrangements for their loved one, and so I've asked them to include that brochure in those folders so that afterwards, that they're done. They know that there's certain things that get done after a service is conducted. So I'm asking them to add that to the list of things that needs to be done, provide the brochures, and this way their families have that out there. Again, like I said in my last report, in San Miguel County, there's approximately 200 to 250 deaths a year, and probates, we're doing maybe like 75 probates a year. So there's a disconnect somewhere. I mean, a lot of those decedents aren't residents of San Miguel County, but the majority of them are, so I want to try to drive those numbers up and try to get these people to do those probates as soon as possible. In September, I will be working with, New Mexico on Aging and Long-Term Services and the New Mexico State Bar to put on a daily seminar in regards to legal services that New Mexico UNM School of Law provides. And also we're going to put a section in there to talk about probate as well. And I believe it's going to be at the Las Vegas Senior Center. And once they do that, I'm going to try to reach out again to the other senior centers in El Valle, Pecos, and try to get, try and find a location out here on the Sapeoria, Rosea area to try to reach them, those residents out there. One of the reasons I went through 540 Canamex is because of the range that they have. It reaches all of San Miguel County, but it also reaches into other counties. So I'm thinking by doing this on a more regular basis on the radio, I can reach a bigger audience that not only helps San Miguel here, but also helps the other counties, because it gets into Taos County, Mora County, Quay County, some of these other areas, so Santa Fe County. So I'm hoping that that'll also help those probate judges in those areas as well. Again, like I said, if these people realize the importance of doing a probate right away, if they come through probate court here, it's a $30 processing fee. If they wait too long and it has to go to district court, now it's $132 plus any attorney fees that they may have. So a lot of these residents cannot even afford the $30. So having it moved to district court and having to pay additional funds just isn't feasible for them. So this way, if we can try to reach them and provide this information ahead of time, may help alleviate some of the heartaches and troubles that they go through later on. In June and July, respectively, I was appointed to the Probate Affiliate Educational Committee and the Judicial Legislative Committee as well. So this Thursday, I will be going to Albuquerque to attend an educational committee meeting and start getting our agenda and trainings ready for our next affiliate meeting. From January 1st through August 9th, we have fielded approximately 85 calls and walk-ins into my office and into Deputy Clerk Samantha Armijo's office, with people just asking about questions regarding probate, the probate process, or concerns that they have with probates. We've actually opened approximately just a little over 30 cases, and I've transferred 3 to district court, again, just because of contentions in the probates and other issues. I've had to transfer those to district court. I myself have met with approximately another 30 families in regards to probate issues. Again, some are issues that are outside of the jurisdiction that I have. So they've either had to contact attorneys or try to resolve their issues on their own. So, so it stays pretty busy. Between Samantha and I, we've attended just a little over 15 different types of trainings. She's taking some EDGE courses, and between the affiliate trainings and that, we've kept pretty busy. And then in that same time frame from July through August, I've had personally, in the office, in my office, not including Samantha's, but I've had another 20 people have brought in other issues to me that were, again, outside of the jurisdiction. They were somewhat probate related, but they're outside of your jurisdiction. Some of them were deed questions. Some of them were questions on, my brother's doing this, my neighbor's fighting me about this property and stuff like that. So So it's not, we just don't see a lot of the just probate stuff. There's other issues that people want us to help them with. So, we can't give them any legal advice or anything, but we can at least direct them to go see this person, go, if it's a property line issue, go to the assessor's office. If it's, I've paid the taxes for the last 10 years, it should be my property, go see the treasurer's office, things of that sort. So, so those are other things that we handle. I've also done 10 weddings in that time frame. So that's been a little different, that's been fun. But, as you can see, we've kept pretty busy. And, in talking to other probate judges, most of them don't give any kind of report to their commissioners. Most of them don't even associate or talk to the commissioners. I think it's important that as elected officials that we all work together to try to make our services to our citizens the best that we can. Like I said, in most cases, probate has taken a backseat to county government, and in our county, I want to bring us to a more visible office within the county, and the visible service that we provide, the important service that we provide to the citizens. So, with that, any questions?
One
Commissioner
comment.
Trujillo?
Judge Torres, I just want to thank you for being a little more proactive with our people from San Miguel County. Being a realtor, I see probate issues all the time with families wanting to sell a property that has been in families for many years, and some of them haven't done a probate, so I know those entanglements that families can get into, and that you're putting that information out and being proactive and encouraging people to do probates soon after a deceased family member's passing. It really helps not just the family, but it helps the whole community, because when things are left to get worse, they absolutely get worse. And I've been firsthand, in that situation with some of my clients, and it's painful to see that. So I just wanted to thank you for that, for being a little more proactive and being more visible.
Yeah, and any suggestions, anything like that, people you feel we should reach out to, like I hadn't thought about the real estate people, but, reaching out to them, and, one of the other things I want to do is get a list of attorneys that specialize in probate or wills and estates, and, we can't recommend to any one individual, but we can provide them that guidance and say, okay, these are the people you can see. And
I have one, Madam Chair, one question. Thank you, Judge Torres, that's just very informative. I think I've asked this question before, so if a person has a will, or they have that estate plan and a will, then they don't have to go to probate, right? You only go to probate? No.
See, that's one of the misconceptions that people have.
That's what I thought I was told by the
because they have a will, they don't have to do a probate.
Right.
But as long as there's properties and vehicles deeded to that person, they still have to, unless they're a payable on death, transfer on death, what is it? Payable on death, transfer on death, and there's another. Unless those deeds are written specifically that way, then those avoid probate. But if they're not written as transfer on death to, from me to them or whatever, then they still have to go through probate.
So it depends on the wording on the will?
The wording on the deeds and
on the deeds?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the will, the will it's just the will saying these are my wishes, but that doesn't mean that, and this is the person I want to carry out my wishes, but it still has to be probated.
Any further questions?
Is there a time, one more question, Madam Chair, and is there a deadline for the time after a person is deceased?
After a person is deceased, the best time to do it is either 5 days after, anywhere up to a year is the best time to do it. You have 3 years. After 3 years, then if it's property, only property related, we can do it for deed transfers. Anything outside of that has to go to district court.
Any further questions?
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
We move on to item number 26, bank transfers for the month of July. Ms. Bertha Bustamante, County Treasurer.
Okay, all of you should have this in your computers. Is there any questions that you may have for me?
I don't have any questions. Does anybody have any questions? No questions?
Also, on the treasurer side, we will be having a state sale in September sometime. And that's for delinquent properties that are here in San Miguel County.
And when will that take place?
I haven't got the date yet because they're still working on it, but it will be in September sometime.
And what is this a sale, pardon, Madam Chair? What is this a sale on what?
Delinquent properties.
Delinquent properties?
On their taxes, yes.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
We move on to item number 27, Resolution 2019-08-13-F1, informational purpose only. That presenter, Ms. Melinda Gonzalez, Finance Supervisor.
I apologize, this should actually be an action item. It's a resolution to approve and authorize my office to submit a completed application to the New Mexico Finance Authority for the Cabo Lucero Volunteer Fire Department to purchase a fire truck.
So moved, Madam Chair. Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Nahar. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 28, to enter into an agreement with El Centro based on resolution approved in July 2019. Presenter, Ms. Melinda Gonzalez.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, I've been working with El Centro, and last month I presented a resolution to provide them with $25,000 worth of funding. And in doing so, prior to that time and in between that time, I've been also trying to work with them and one of the X-ray businesses in Santa Fe in order for us to be able to pay for X-ray services for indigent populations. But trying to get the logistics of that taken care of has been a little bit hard. So I'm actually going to ask if I could submit an agreement now rather than the $25,000 for $50,000 to them. So they could actually handle that direct cost themselves, since we are having kind of a hard time coordinating how that would get done. And El Centro actually already verifies the income status of individuals to determine if they could and are eligible for these particular funding sources.
And we have the funding for that?
And we have the funding, yes, Chairwoman, yes we do.
Motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Varela, second by Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Madam Chair and Ms. Gonzalez, I have a question regarding the indigent fund. You had mentioned before the possibility of funding the ambulance. That's not on the agenda, but is that fund still available for the purchase of an ambulance for Pecos?
Madam Chair and Commissioner Varela, yes, that's still set aside.
That's still being in the work
for that.
Thank you very much.
We move on to item 29, accounts payable report for the period of July 2019. Ms. Melinda Gonzalez.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, you have two reports. One is off of our system, off the Tyler system, for all payments that have been made through our accounts payable, and the other is a report from Bernier County for the month of July for the payments that they made to landlords and tenants on behalf of San Miguel County.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Nahar. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We move on to item number 30, budget report for the period of July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2019. Ms. Melinda Gonzalez.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, this is the year-to-date report for the entire fiscal year 2018-2019. And at our special meeting that we had at the end of July, this information was used in order to compile that quarterly report to DFA. And this is for informational purposes only, and to let you know that next month we'll start with the new fiscal year and providing you those particular reports. So this is at the end of last fiscal year.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Melinda. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. And we did approve funding today for some of the nonprofits that we support. And Was there going to be additional funding for this purpose, or did we already allocate all the money that was maybe available for that purpose?
Madam Chair and Commissioners, we pretty much budgeted everything that we have the resources to budget for. There might be a little bit more room, but really there's not much.
Okay.
It's pretty tight. And again, a lot of these projects that were funded today were based on excess cash balances above our 3/12 reserve requirement. They're not funded by recurring revenues, so there's a potential next year that we might not be able to fund them or have to do something else in order to be able to fund them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We move on to item 31, cash balance report for the month of June 2019.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, this is for informational purposes only, and this represents the reconciled cash balances as of June 30th. These numbers were also incorporated into the fiscal year 1920 budget that was presented and approved at the end of July.
Okay, we move on to item number 32, receipt report for the month of June 2019.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, this is a receipt report run off of our system for all payments received by our Treasurer's Office for the month of June 2019.
Any questions? We move on to item 33, journal entry report for the month of June 2019.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, this report reflects all journal entries that were physically made during the month of June 2019 by either my staff and or the Treasurer's staff.
Next, we move on to item number 34. It's going to be my recommendation that before we move on this item, that we go into executive session to discuss this item. The item we will be discussing is continuing contract services with Dave Romero Jr., law firm PA. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Nahar, second by Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Madam Chair,